Hiya, and welcome back to Moonlight Castle. The game that teaches us that... Joel, you need to be more confident. You need to stand up for yourself and put your whole Joel-acy into it. You can never control cats. You can never control them. Anyways, let's just hop right in. Cole always stands up for himself. He really doesn't. That's why we love him. Except not really. I don't know. Am I mentioning you? I don't know, you're the most prominent example of chaos in chat. You're just a silly little guy. You're so silly. It was getting late, and the moon slowly showed itself through my window. I enjoyed the view. Looking at it felt enchanting, calming my soul with its positive energy. Blake and I related on that matter, at least. Walking under the moonlight was nice. I found myself staring at the moon multiple times while walking down the road, listening to nature in the background through my headphones. It was crowded, so I'd hoped to see people heading to the same place as me, but instead, they would stop at the sparkling cafes sitting on the main road, not bothering to get dinner inside and find the hidden gem waiting for them. Not to get deeper inside. Fuck. Truly disappointed. They're missing out. I stood outside the cafe while I was able to distinguish some vague shapes, but their voices were drowned out by the walls. I heard a rustling from the side of the building, and upon closer inspection, I saw a shadow moving around the corner. Russell himself? Someone else working with him? I didn't care enough to investigate further and walked in. Russell's welcoming face was the first thing I saw, sweeping the floor near the entrance. Good evening. He raised his face to stare at me a little bit, then greeted me before I'd walk away. You look surprised to see me here. You noticed that? I assumed you were in the back. I sensed movement there. Russell grunted a bit as realization struck him, then dropped the broom he was holding and rushed outside. I see. Now that I thought about it, that shadow was too small to be Russell's. He didn't need help. His face spelled anger rather than fear. I assumed someone was doing something they weren't supposed to. I shrugged and walked deeper in to meet my friends at the counter. Blake, Dylan, and Patrice were all gathered around Clyde as he held a beer in his hand, looking a little uncomfortable. Whoa. Whoa. The smell of alcohol was already soaking the air, and, as much as I wanted to blame the tiger for that, everyone seemed to be drinking tonight. Drink, 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 drink. I quickly got a picture of the situation as I watched Patrice sharing his terrible habits with an innocent target who clearly didn't have the energy to fight back. Evening. They turned to me for a few moments just to acknowledge my presence, then resumed their peer pressure tactics onto the dragon. I'm a little hesitant, I admit. I've seen what happens to people who drink, and that alone had always pushed me away from trying. Yeah, beers sure are scary. Dylan chuckled in a mocking tone. Patrice instead gasped and scooched closer, his eyes sparkling with excitement. I knew it! Holy shit, I knew it! You've never had a beer before. You have nothing to worry about, Clyde. You won't feel anything with just one cup. Blake was the only one trying to ease his worries. Get food and water afterwards, and it'll be like you've never had beer at all. Come on, there's no need to coddle him. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. One beer is enough to knock him out. Why do you sound disappointed? I wanted to warn him about the bitterness of the first drink, but I worried that he'd give up trying. What's gonna be then? Are you giving up? It's a beer, for fuck's sake. I'm drinking it if he doesn't. I will give it a try. It'd be rude of me to turn it down when someone else bought it for me. Hiya. Clyde brought the cup closer and gave it a little sniff, and I saw his whiskers twirl around as he did. Don't put your tongue in. Sips only. The dragon felt called out and went for the big sip instead. There it is! His eyes widened the moment his taste buds registered the flavor. Why is it so bitter? I couldn't taste anything except full acidity. Patrice chuckled, rewarded by seeing the dragon's disappointment. It's an acquired taste. You will taste other flavors when you try again. That's strange to me. Doesn't that mean it's not good if you have to get used to it? He was so right. At least coffee was useful. Beer did nothing but slap you in the face. Beer is great. You should try to get tipsy and see what this baby can do for you. gone. You left it in your washing machine. Oh no! Patrice reached for the bottle on the counter, gave himself another fill, and chugged down the entire thing. This stuff is the answer to all of your problems. You're unstoppable when you drink. Never forget that. Well, if alcohol is the answer to all your problems, then go with something that isn't beer. But no, you know what? As a quick PSA, alcohol is not the solution to all your problems. It is harmful. It is addictive. It is not the solution to all your You're not unstoppable. And chances are you'll make an ass. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know where I'm going with this. This stuff is the answer to all of your problems. You're unstoppable when you drink. Never forget that. Clyde tried again, and this time his face didn't twist with disgust. Instead, he kept going all the way to the bottom. Congrats, how do you feel? Nothing. And now I'm wondering if you people have lied to me about this. Is that what you think? Maybe you should keep going then. I'd love to see what kind of drunk you are. We could do that during a proper celebration. That sounds fun. I want to get everyone here drunk. Including myself. You can't do that. At least 2 people should stay sober to look after the others. Me, I do that. I categorically refuse to get drunk. I had an overall idea of what I would be doing, and oh boy, we were not going through that again. Patrice whistled, a malicious grin on his face. Why is that? What you hiding, Joel? I flushed red and shouted the first thing that popped into my mind. Why are you here anyway? I thought you didn't want to explore the castle. My therapist thinks it's a good opportunity to test myself and see how far I've come. So he's planning to get himself drunk to run away from the issue. I didn't say that. The only thing you're doing is stinking up the place with that disgusting breath of yours. Take a mint, for fuck's sake. Patrice blushed uncomfortably, smelling his own breath, and walked away to fix it. He seems to have good tolerance for alcohol, unlike Ryan. He's a slutty drunk! The temptation to just say fuck it and give Patrice the fucking Brandon Rogers impression. Fucking Bryce tank thrust. Patrice shouted a few tables away from us. Don't tell him I said that! Where is he, by the way? Haven't seen him for a while now. They all shrugged, completely unaware just like me. He hasn't arrived yet, which is strange. Shall we call him to see? Russell returned, walked through our group, and entered his kitchen. We all noticed a certain hurry and agitation and peeked in. Does anyone have first aid knowledge? The bull placed some ice into a bucket and brought it to the counter. Did someone get hurt? Ryan just arrived with a red bruise on his face, so I'm bringing him something to relieve the swelling. I can check that out. Clyde quickly walked to the entrance while the others were left confused, asking for more information. Let's not overwhelm him right now. You need to be strong to overpower Ryan. I hope it's not serious. I want to see him. You shouldn't. You're the reason he refused to enter the cafe. Oh my god, thank you for the raid. Hiya, Axel. Thank you for the raid. Ah! Me? I'm sure he doesn't want to worry you. It was because of our talk, wasn't it? I told him I didn't feel safe and... Russell, give us your honest opinion on the bruise. That would help Joel be more patient. His cheek was punched and he had a nosebleed. Oh! Nothing was broken from what I've seen. It's just some cleaning up is required. See, he simply didn't want you to see him with a bloody nose. Russell left with the ice for Ryan. Why was he hurt? What happened? We don't know that yet. You can guess the reason, Blake. God damn it, Ryan. You don't know for sure. There is literally no other reason for anyone to hurt someone like Ryan. In this world, whoever was different wasn't allowed to live peacefully. That's just how things were. You'll always find crazy people out there. Why did I do a slight country? You'll always find crazy people out there. Fight for your right to exist in this world and make them regret meeting you. I shouldn't fight for something I should be entitled to have. Am I a monster? Do I look like a criminal to you? I just want to live my life. I know, Joel. I know. What should we do? I just cracked my back. And it felt amazing. Like, it should not have felt that good. To fucking crack my back. Should not have felt that good. Yeah, we're gonna believe in Ryan, but first I'm gonna save in case it doesn't go well. Blake stood up and walked to a table further away from the group while making a motion to follow along. I was anxious, not knowing what was happening outside tormented me. So I did what he wanted. Anything to keep my mind busy for a little longer. Can I ask you why you think this is your fault? You tend to take the blame whenever something bad happens, so I'd like to know what's the reasoning behind that. Wasn't his intention, but hearing that felt humiliating. When we spoke about the reason behind unreasonable violence, I did give that vibe. It happened after we talked about this very issue, and I don't think that's a coincidence. You're comfortable sharing with me, maybe I can give my input as well. I didn't have anything against that. I didn't say anything crazy, just expressed my fears about an unfair reality. Blake was saddened as I repeated the same exact words and feelings I had earlier today. I understand better now. I didn't give him the authentic version because mentioning Clyde and my family would have been too much, but it was easy to convey the same thoughts without that. Let me start by saying that there will always be evil in the world. No matter which side you stand on, you'll never isolate it. The only real difference is the shape hate takes. Keep waiting for it, you'll grow tired, paranoid, and depressed. I get it. In your eyes, this must look like an insurmountable obstacle, and the moment it'll come, you'd see no way out. Ryan is trying to help you see what's on the other side, the good side. And by doing this, he's hoping that you can see past this pain and find a reason to be who you want to be. I felt my heart pounding in my chest. His words touched me like I'd never expected they would. I had never tried seeing what was happening behind the scenes. My biggest priority was always shutting it down. So please, stop blaming yourself and think about Ryan instead. Why is he hiding away from you right now? I understood everything at that moment. He doesn't want me to see my traumatic experiences proven right. Yeah, all he wants is to make you happy. I agree with that sentiment. Ryan always did that. He did that so much I wanted him to stop because all he would think about was me. But just this once, I'll let it slide. We all deserve to be happy, and nobody will be able to stop us from walking towards a better future. Hate will visit us once in a while, but unfortunately that can't be stopped. What do we do when that happens? We curl up into a ball in the corner and start screaming. We ignore it? As long as you're not waiting for it and trying to predict its arrival, any other choice is healthy for you. I see. You should start right now. How? Ryan's most likely going to come and talk to you now. Don't ask him about how he got the injury. Just
It's time
comfort
to
him
drink
and
water.
let him know you're happy to see him instead.
It's time to drink water.
Yeah, fuck. Smacked my keyboard.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
Hydration. Okay, I'll do that. Thanks, Blake. A couple more minutes went by, and just like Blake anticipated, Ryan walked in first and we all followed him with our eyes. He was holding an ice pack to his face for the swelling, but aside from that, he looked fine. His eyes locked on me the moment he saw me and his path changed to reach our table instead. Blake walked away and gave him his seat. He looked stressed, and for the first time, I could see that I was the reason for his stress. How are you doing? Clyde said I should be fine. Tomorrow it'll be fully healed. That's great news. I'm glad. Yeah. Does it still hurt? No, not anymore. I just feel cold. I think my cheek is basically frozen at this point. Thank God. I'm happy to see that you're safe. Joel. Everything's fine. You don't have to feel nervous anymore. I'm not mad at you. I want you to smile again. Ryan dropped the ice on the table and covered his face for a moment. He sniffed and wiped away everything with his arm. Okay, I will. The way he reacted to my words made me realize how much weight I'd been accidentally throwing onto Ryan all this time. He'd never felt so real before. I wanted to see this version of Ryan again. That heart-to-heart faded when we realized everyone else was watching us, the same way you'd watch a soap opera. Let's go join them already. Ryan laughed after my groan. Yes, sir. That's it. We took small steps together. About time. Sorry.
About time. I wasn't gonna give the same speech twice.
I saw you entering the cafe literally 1 minute ago.
Wrong. I've been here the whole time.
If you care even a little about your fantasies, you better move on and talk. Russell was somewhat angrier than when I left him earlier.
Ryan is our precious boy.
Liam really was capable of pissing anyone off. Lynx promptly laughed at him and pulled out a book for all of us to see.
Ghost hunting for
dummies. Patrice read the cover out loud only for him to enter a laughing fit. Wait, which voice, Blake? Are you serious? That's, friendly?
I thought it was funny.
Come on now. We're gathered here to assist him in this search. Might as well see it through to the end. Hey, if this is the level of scary I have to face, I'm all for it. Okay, let's see what's in here. If it's blank, I'm going to piss my pants. Patrice quote of the year. If it's blank, I'm going to piss my pants. That is my new favorite line. Patrice left the Patriceless table to go change his pants on Patrice that are filled with Patrice piss. I don't know. The first 2 pages showed us an unfinished map of the castle with notes and ideas for new possible paths and what we could theoretically see on the way. Did you also visit the rooftop? Went out one of the castle towers and noticed how we all spread out in different directions. Liam called me earlier today to ask about our exploration.
I wanted to call Joel. That fucker's line was busy.
Oh, he must have tried during my depressive episode with Ryan. I am constantly switching between voices, and it is confusing me. This is the basement after the library. Don't go in there, it's dangerous. An indoor greenhouse? What a strange location. Are you sure this is correct? I saw it myself. There's no mistake. I will take a guess and say Dylan saw it too. I did. I was the one cutting a path through the vines. I'd like to see it. The map was surprisingly useful. Helped us share information faster than I expected.
I made only 4 because we're exploring in pairs. Don't lose it, I won't be around explaining stuff.
Liam flipped to the next page, a page about ghosts and what to do if one appears. What does yellow border mean? That's just how it is.
I wanted to make a little drawing here, but I'm not good at it.
Went ahead to read some of the text for myself, but there wasn't much to find. Red ghost run or hide, blue ghost ignore. Why is that? Aren't they supposed to be transparent? I thought ghosts were white. That is, if they ever existed to begin with.
If they're cursed, their color changes.
Is that it? No explanation given? I did want to know the difference. As crazy as it sounded, colors meant something?
It's for dummies, remember? I gave you the simplest version possible, but if you cared to learn more, I did explain more at the end. I needed to make sure the most important things were in front.
Yeah, the yellow border in the game. Yeah, that's because we're doing Blake's route, so the theme is Blake. I could check it out later then. Be respectful of your surroundings. Don't make noise, don't break anything, and take it slow. Treese read another line, unimpressed. Like a school trip. Joel compared it to a museum, and you're giving it the same vibe.
You could find traps. I'd recommend running only if there's no other option available.
I suppose that makes a little sense. The floor didn't look stable. I'd rather not see anyone falling through. Another page showed 2 rings. They looked exactly the same, only the stone in each was different. You know what? Just to make my life a little bit easier. Just to make my life a little bit easier. Just gonna... right there. Only the stone in each was different.
My sister is most likely wearing this ring here.
Liam pointed at the blue ring in the picture. What about the red one, then? The Lynx promptly pulled out the real thing from his pocket.
This one's mine. It was a birthday gift. I'm assuming she's still wearing hers.
He also included a picture of them together, but I guess she'd most likely be unrecognizable. Can I ask a question regarding this thing right here? Clyde brought us back to the map, addressing one of the handwritten notes Liam added. Something called a safe room, followed by multiple question marks.
It's technically a clean space free of ghosts that we can use to rest and recharge.
Oh, hiya, and yes. I see. And why is it written like that?
I'm not sure where it could be. That's why you see those question marks.
I have something important to say.
Yes?
Let's say I found your sister. What do you want me to do afterwards?
You leave her where she is, wait for me in the safe room, and I'll do the rest.
Alright, I get the gist of things now. He does? I still find this insane. Hopefully I'm not the one who finds her!
I also wrote some more hypothetical scenarios you guys can read while Ryan drives us back to the castle.
He walked in my direction and handed me a similar looking bag to the one I saw yesterday. I didn't exactly register the situation properly and just took it off his hands, only for the bag to drag me down with its weight. Why is it so heavy? Ryan came to my rescue and took this boulder away from me.
It's really not.
Alright, being indirectly called a weakling sure was nice. I'll carry ours, don't worry. Ryan passed the bag over to the wolf. I guess if you're not expecting it, the bag would take you down with it. Blake wasn't making it any better. Are we going to split again like yesterday?
For sure. But if that doesn't reassure you guys, I'll take a look around first to double check whether it's safe.
Right? Between a Silver or Aaron baby photo, what do I choose? Oh no! No! My worst nightmare! No! Ah! My worst nightmare! Decisions! Just choose both. Is that an I choose both. I choose both. Silence. We didn't say anything. It was a lot to take in considering how much we'd heard already today. I wouldn't blame anyone if they ever decided to step away now that we were about to leave. That is, if anyone believed what he had told us. It felt as though we were passively taking it all in without actually understanding the situation. It was strange. I was strangely drawn to the castle and I didn't understand why. Was everyone else experiencing this feeling too? Time to depart, correct? Clyde took a deep breath, clutching his bag closer to his chest. I'm supposed to return this book tonight. That means I can't run away from this. You mean that bloody book? It's not blood! It's not blood! It's not blood! What are we talking about again? Clyde unzipped his bag and showed the group his cursed book. I was referring to this. He quickly dropped it back inside. Sometimes it gets warmer while I'm holding it. So uncomfortable. Stop that already! Don't make it sound like the book is alive! You were holding it against your body the whole time, so obviously it wouldn't stay cold?
Explain the words appearing on their own, then.
You can easily make that trick work with temperature. I'm sure you were the one holding the book when it happened.
You're annoying because it's a good comeback, but you're wrong. I can't make the entire page turn red so easily.
I told you that the only way for me to believe in your claims is by seeing it with my own eyes.
I'm growing more excited to prove you wrong than perform my job.
Of course. I'll prepare to close the shop. Please wait for me outside. That's my cue to get a cigarette in before the car trip. Russell and Blake left, then we all split to do our own thing before settling down in the car.
I'm going to pack our things. Dylan!
Just say you want me to do it. What? What? The crocodile scoffed and hurried after him. The tree seemed to be having second thoughts, and honestly, I didn't judge him for that. Have you changed your mind, Patrice? Yes! No, I should go. Ugh, that's so stressful for me. Nobody's forcing you to be here.
I said I'd do it. It's for my own good. I need to see this through to the end.
Okay, hear me out. Liam mentioned the safe room that is supposed to shelter you from all dangers we might find on this journey. You can test yourself, see how you fare, and if things don't work out, we can rest there and wait for the group to come pick us up. Are we sure this safe room is actually safe? How do we know that? I opened the book Liam gave us and shuffled through the pages, mostly looking toward the back where he claimed the flavor text would be. Found it! We all scooched closer to read what the book said about safe rooms. Safe rooms are special rooms that ghosts are forbidden from entering because of the sentimental value they hold. Important memories once played out in that space, and, in order to preserve them, the curse subconsciously protects the room from corruption. Yep, this is straight out of a video game. Does this convince you? It makes me feel stupid, but I do feel calmer now. Can I ask you something, Patrice? We should continue this conversation outside. I see Russell glaring at us through the door. We walked out and saw Blake leaning against a pole, smoking a cigarette while staring at the moon. A small puff of smoke came out of his mouth and rose up into the sky after he inhaled the fumes. I don't know it's safe from it. It has a typewriter. Oh, fuck. I take it that we're going? Almost. Russell's still inside. So, Patrice, is there another reason why you decided to join us? I wasn't sure at first, but when you forced yourself to continue after hearing about the book, it got me thinking that you have ulterior motives. Good observation skills. I can confirm that you're right. Blake, who had just finished smoking, approached us after listening to our conversation. Guys, wait. Patrice stopped Ryan from speaking on his behalf and crossed his arms. True, there is more to my story. He sighed, carefully thinking about his next words. I'm not hiding it on purpose. I was just respecting Liam's sister's wishes, and I suppose her brother too. That last part felt forced. He didn't seem to care about her. Seemed to care more about her than Liam. Have you noticed how he stopped using her name altogether? It must bother him so much that Liam doesn't want to say anything about her. Am I to understand that you've met her before? Patrice could have lied his way out of that. The moment his eyes widened, he gave it away. Shoot, you guys are too smart for me. Can we at least stop here? I'd like to share, but not right now. Yay! Blake and I had really pieced it together quite nicely. I understand, and it would be nice of you to respect his boundaries. We're going to keep this between us, right? I'm constantly adjusting myself. Fucking mess. I wanted to know, but I shouldn't say that out loud. This sounds like a personal matter rather than information related to the search. We don't need to know more. Thanks. I'll see what I can do and talk to Liam first. I want to check how he feels about it. Dylan started honking, giving us an absolutely unnecessary scare. I want to leave! He continued to honk the horn, and he most likely wouldn't stop until we joined him. I pinched the bridge of my nose, annoyed. We had been needing some noise. That's what I prevented last time. I'll get him away from the driver's seat. Ryan rushed toward the car, and I followed after him. The two were pushing each other, trying to take control over the seat, and it surprised me how much Ryan struggled to get the upper hand. Dylan must have been really tough, considering how he easily outpowered Patrice. I would never want to be on his bad side. We're here! We're here! We followed Ryan to the car and managed to pull Dylan out in those seconds of hesitation from arriving, and so the squabble ended. Everyone's seated. You can drive now. I placed myself in the front next to Ryan, just like yesterday, and after a few hiccups, the car started and we drove back to the forest. There was a nice atmosphere in the car, with a lot of background noise from everyone talking about something. It felt really comforting to me. How are you doing? I'm feeling good for once. You shouldn't sound so surprised about that. That's how you should always feel. Don't get distracted. You haven't learned the route yet. Yes, I did. Tell him, Patrice. He tends to memorize roads fast. Can't say the same for school material, though. You could have stopped me up. You could have stopped at the compliment. Patrice leaned forward, placing his head between us. You're always fishing for those, but I'm the wrong person. Ryan blushed, and when he had a chance to freely move his hand, pushed him back to his seat, grumbling words under his breath I couldn't catch. Be careful. He deserved it. The campsite wasn't far, and with a few minutes left of traveling, I want to go back to Liam's book and read more of the flavor text in the back he mentioned. I see. Ryan briefly glanced over in my direction and saw what I was doing. I wonder how he came up with all that in such a short amount of time. Yeah, I think we're going to finish Blake's route tonight, and then move on to a different route tomorrow. Spend some time reading and discovering generic ghost trivia that personally didn't convince me, but it was interesting nonetheless. It was creative at least. I wanted to hear about the colors. Does it say why some are blue and others are red? It reminded me that I also wanted to check that out. I skimmed through the pages and found the flavor text I was looking for. The book says that red ghosts are evil, vengeful, and can't distinguish friend from foe. It's best to avoid them entirely or pay the consequences. Well, that wasn't so bad. I understood that perfectly. Making it too complicated, my ass. What? What? I'm gonna have to reread that. Well, that wasn't so bad. I understood that perfectly. Making it too complicated, my ass. Blue ones, instead, don't care about you and can be approached with caution. It's recommended to avoid confrontation regardless. Fuck. Okay. I'd love to chat with a ghost. I'm adding that to my bucket list. It says that you shouldn't because they can turn into red ghosts under certain circumstances. I feel like everything in that book wants to kill you somehow. Liam wrote it. Exactly my point. Ryan's ass must be so fluffy. I said that out loud. I read that out loud. The campsite was in sight, so I put the book back into the bag and waited for Ryan to stop. The car to let us out. I was hit with a strange smell the moment I stepped out, something I couldn't quite define. We gotta walk through that forest, huh? It's an awkward trail, very easy to lose your footing and hurt yourself.
Stay close to Dylan then. He can easily hold you.
That got me thinking about all the possible scenarios, and I came to the conclusion that Dylan wouldn't save anyone. Or if he truly tried, he'd reach for any part of your body within grab range, making the rescue look awkward and uncomfortable. Somehow I feel safer alone. Damien, I'm not going to respond to that. I am not going to respond to that. I also don't feel like tripping tonight. Just watch where you step, you'll be fine. We walked through the main path and reached the old campfire site. This place felt nostalgic for some reason. It's only been one day, yet I didn't feel like that at all.
Okay, get closer now. I'd rather not lose any of you before reaching our destination.
The bushes and leaves rustled as he pushed them out of the way to make space for us. At first my nose could barely pick up that strange odor, but now it was growing stronger and more present. I had no idea what it was, but I personally didn't like it. It was something I've never smelled before. Can you smell that? Blake faced me to gauge my tone, then tried identifying the smell I was referring to. I can smell a lot of things, can you specify? I figured that if he wasn't saying anything about it, I was the only one sensing it. It's the first time I've ever smelled something like this. It's so intense. So I'm surprised you can't. Bad or good? Bad. Definitely bad. Can you hallucinate smells? Is that even possible? Yes, you can, I think. Managed to get through the forest without slipping this time around. Yay. The old rusty gate was just a few steps away, so we took a small break to rest and gather up. Blake and I approached Clyde as he was the one struggling the most. All good? I'm managing. Ryan and Patrice are being quite helpful and patient with me, and I appreciate that. You barely needed any help. Just good advice on the best terrain to step on. Have you done this before? Sometimes I invite Ryan to small hikes on the weekend. He never turns me down because I offer him lunch afterwards. It's important to keep my body moving because I eat a lot. They continued chatting and my eyes went to Liam and Dylan being further away from us, while staying in close proximity. Dylan was holding his nose, just like I was before. Must have been feeling it as well.
You guys done catching your breath? Let's get inside already.
Liam was growing impatient, just like last time. It was the only occasion where I've ever seen him truly upset. Right? The castle's towers were now fully visible as we got closer to the main entrance. I remember that old fountain full of debris, built exactly in the middle of what could have been a small plaza in the past. We walked through, ignoring everything around us to get inside. My body shivered when a chilling wind began blowing behind us, almost trying to push us in. It wasn't raining, at least. Liam pushed the door open, making us hear that awful creaking noise again. A putrid, disgusting smell welcomed me when I stepped into the lounge. It was unbearable, so strong and pungent I was tearing up, and breathing through my shirt did nothing. Dylan began cursing out loud, only for a sudden coughing to stop him. This is bad! The atmosphere. This place wasn't the same anymore. I could tell something happened here while we were gone. What was that smell? I never smelled something so rancid before. It's like rotting? Expired food? No, that would never be so powerful. You okay? Why are you holding your shirt like that? You don't feel it? Feel what? Glanced over at my friends and realized that not everyone was affected. It was impossible to ignore even if you tried. I didn't know ghosts had an odor. This shit is going to make my nose bleed. Is this one of those things normal people can't sense? I'm content with not knowing. Then describe it to me.
Of course I don't smell. This is...
Liam held his tongue, uncertain about revealing that information. The ground's moving. An earthquake? Everyone out, now!
Wait, don't leave!
Liam tried to keep the group close to him, but that didn't make sense. It wasn't safe for us to stay inside, not until the shaking had stopped. It started weak, but slowly built its way up to a strong, violent movement. The kind that wouldn't let you walk without tripping. I don't want to die! Patrice was horrified, and before anyone could get out, shoved us out of the way to attempt to leave first. He had worked so hard not to panic, but nothing could have prepared him for a natural calamity. Another person, faster than Patrice and agile enough to not lose balance, sprinted past all of us and tackled the tiger down. Stay the fuck here! Dylan was now sitting on top of Patrice and yelled at us while blocking the way. I was confused and concerned. This wasn't the time to argue, but he was keeping us from leaving, sending glares our way. What are you doing if this place collapses? We're going to die! The tiger begged and cried from below, unable to set himself free, causing Ryan to take action. That's enough! Let him go! We can't stay here! My head also began throbbing. The earthquake and the infighting wasn't enough, apparently. Rocks began falling outside, near the entrance, where Patrice would have been. That quickly turned into a rock slide that ended with a giant boulder crashing in front of the door, locking us in. This is how we die, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we die. Go ahead and start praying. We're gonna die. That quickly turned into a rock slide. Yeah, I already read that. A massive wave of dust and sand formed upon impact, creating a wall of smoke that decreased our visibility. I could barely even see myself, but that didn't matter. I was hoping the others were unharmed. Oh, we would have died? Is everyone okay? I could hear Patrice's crying voice even before Ryan yelled. We all gathered around Patrice and felt relieved upon seeing them all safe and sound. That was it. The earthquake stopped. Everything was quiet again, and we all watched in horror at the end result. Shut up! Dylan tried in vain to make Patrice stop. Okay, fine. He refused to get up until the tiger had calmed down. We're trapped, we're trapped, we're trapped! Calm down. We can always escape through the windows. Technically, we didn't know how much damage the castle had received, but we had to find a different way out regardless.
You should be thankful. Dylan saved your life just now.
I could feel the disdain in his tone. He didn't seem to care at all about Patrice's mental state. Of course, we all acknowledged that the way Liam said that was just wrong. Patrice began gasping for air. I knew exactly what that meant and what he was going through. He's hyperventilating. You have to move. I'm serious. Dylan reluctantly obliged and Clyde rushed to his side. Can you focus on me? I'm here to help you. Clyde gently rolled him around to make eye contact. Patrice slowly nodded in response. I'm going to pinch your nose. Do your best and try breathing through one of your nostrils, okay? Another nod from Patrice. Seeing his breathing slowing and stabilizing cheered us up for the time being. Patrice hugged Clyde tight. He was clearly scared and upset. Clyde reassured him, giving him back the same warm hug. We should look for an exit and get Patrice and Clyde back to the car. If Liam wants to keep playing games, he can.
We can't leave. If you try that again, Dylan won't save you from becoming an omelet.
What are you talking about? That was a coincidence, wasn't it? Please, nobody can artificially cause an earthquake.
I don't expect you to believe everything I'm saying, but at least understand that this place isn't the same as yesterday. You can feel that, right?
I was afraid to admit it.
Then look around the lounge, see if you can figure it out.
What is he talking about? Try not to listen. I don't want you to have another episode. Something different about the lounge itself. It was hard to tell now with this dust cloud around us. I took Liam's book from the bag and compared the current room with the map. Wait, the layout, has it changed? Ryan took it from my hands to see himself. Huh? It's just a drawing. Surely it's not too different from... Okay, are you guys remembering right? Because if we trust the map, then... Are you trying to say the walls moved and changed position? Of course not. But how can we explain this? We just went through a fairly strong earthquake. The map isn't reliable anymore. Russell walked up to the boulder and pushed. Maybe we can just move it out of the way? Let me try. Be careful. You can't see if there's more than one and you could get hurt. The two combined their strength, but the rock didn't budge an inch from where it landed. It's stuck. Liam rolled his eyes, approached Patrice, and helped him up.
Can you walk on your own?
I guess so.
Let's find that safe room and have them stay there for now.
Sure, better than seeing them on the floor. It could be anywhere. I'd rather wait here until you find it.
I do know where it is now.
You said you were unsure.
That was before the earthquake and before the room layout suddenly changed. A safe room is not affected by any of this. And remember one unexplored hallway that's somehow still accurate to my map. Nobody went that way, but if the hallway hasn't changed, that means it's very close. Follow me.
We moved after Liam into the dark corridor and noticed the increased level of neglect in this hallway. This feels different. Blake matched his pace with me and chimed in. It doesn't feel natural. Look beneath the rocks. I wasn't sure what he meant, so I rolled over a couple pieces of debris we found on the way and realized the truth was behind his words. There's dust both underneath and on top of the rock? Yes, it doesn't make sense. How? That's impossible! The answer to your question would be that they weren't touching the floor, and at some point, these pieces of debris were located somewhere else. Even the smallest pieces? That's meaningless? A waste of time? Oh, absolutely. Was there a remote possibility of this being engineered? But you'd leave some sort of clue behind, I think. If that was the case, though, why? What's the point of doing anything like this? To preserve the original decay? I felt stuck. It seemed such a meaningless thing to do, and yet the proof was there, in front of my eyes. I saw the others attempt to open some of the doors while Liam kept walking straight ahead. Did he know they were all locked without checking first? I guess I didn't tell him that. This is the same situation again. Expand on that. We're following a path someone else made for us, like it's on purpose.
Some doors are just for show, most likely fake to create hesitation and anxiety.
I feel none of that. You can take your time and inspect everything.
You're not being chased yet.
Chased? Did he fucking say chased? I am absolutely not leaving this room once we get there.
Good to hear, cuz it's here.
Those doors at the end of the hallway led to the dining room. No doubt about it, they effortlessly spread open for all of us, and Liam stepped inside first. Or that's what I thought would happen. He instead stopped on the border between the two, staring at something up ahead. I could see a faint light through the gaps, but I couldn't make it out until I got closer. Some candles were sitting on the table, giving a nice warm light to the dark environment around us, or on any other occasion, I would have liked to see this because I like candles. But here, if none of us did that, then there's only one possible explanation. We should leave. If someone else is here, things could get difficult to handle.
Get inside. Let's sit down and discuss this.
You're really testing my patience here. We did as he asked and fully entered the room. See, this is just one giant pile of fuck that. This entire situation is one giant pile of fuck that. Liam, as much as I love you, fuck you. Just, I love you to death, Liam. I love you to death. I could phrase that better. I love you, Liam. You are the creature. But in all honesty, with the current situation that we're in, fuck you. Fuck you, Liam. Still love you, baby. Still love you. But, you shouldn't have done this. Because I'm getting major Ben Drowned vibes. Like, look at this. Look at this. Not Ben Drowned. Actually, no, not Ben Drowned. I'm getting major Amnesia vibes. You know the game Amnesia? Like, Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Amnesia: The Dark Descent, fucking Slender, The 8 Pages. Fucking Sonic Schoolhouse, or fucking Echo. This is genuinely terrifying, and I love it. But I also hate it because I am a fucking coward. Like, any of you know, like, all of you know, I am a fucking coward. I went to the candles right away and noticed one in particular giving a soft blue light instead of orange like the others. They were nice, comforting, and giving off a positive energy. But the frightening question behind their existence remained. Clyde walked up to me, gave the candles a brief look, and then covered his mouth to hold in a gasp. 8. There are 8 candles. They were scattered across the table, so it didn't hit me right away, but it's true. Exactly 8. The same as us. They're welcoming us. What's the problem? I didn't like that at all. Who was welcoming us? How could he smile at me like that after saying something so creepy? Did you put these here? Liam raised a brow, then laughed at the question.
Of course I did. I came here alone before you guys and prepared these candles in advance to give you a little fright. Such a jokester I am.
Dude, that's a legit question. You can just say no.
Forgive me if it gets on my nerves when everyone sees something strange and always points their fucking finger at me.
This exploration is getting worse by the second. We need to find another way out as soon as possible.
I'd recommend you stay here and wait for us to return. But I have a feeling you wouldn't listen to my advice.
Whether you nor Dylan would give priority to Clyde and Patrice. And don't try telling me you will.
Doing my job will also help you, you know.
Blake gave him a distrustful look.
Whatever. You're free to go poke around with Joel and find out for yourself.
Blinks turned to Dylan, ignoring Blake completely. When and where do we meet up? Liam flipped his phone over and pointed at the time it showed for Dylan to see.
Here in 1 hour. I'll try to be done fast.
I'm not done talking with you.
Weren't you leaving?
His malicious grin followed by a sarcastic remark only managed to set the wolf off further. Tell me about the smell and why I can't sense it. Liam fidgeted a little bit, wondering whether he should give Blake the answer, but eventually gave in to his demand.
It's the smell of death. That unmistakable stench of decomposed bodies.
I felt like throwing up. Of course I couldn't have understand what that was. Oh yeah? That doesn't answer my question in full. Liam was lost in his thoughts, struggling to admit the truth, afraid to say it. Say it or we're all leaving right now.
I would get you killed. You saw it.
I saw a bunch of coincidences. There's no proof anything you said is real. I could see Clyde clutching his bag tighter to his chest. Blake. He wanted to chime in the conversation only for Blake to snap back at him. Stay out of this! Liam sighed, visible regret painted all over his face for what he was about to reveal.
Mediums are the only ones who can sense it.
Felt strange. My mind didn't get the opportunity to either agree or disagree with that statement, because my body was reacting on its own like a natural response. Pardon me? Wolf grunted, displaying skepticism. We all looked at each other in surprise, seeking further approval, with Dylan being the only one unfazed by that revelation. Do you vouch for him, then? Blake also noticed that and asked the crocodile. Yes, everything he said is true. The wolf backed away and the room fell quiet. Dylan had no reason to lie to us, since it wouldn't benefit him in any way.
I hope you're happy, Blake. You pushed your friends one step closer to the edge.
Fuck off, Liam! I watched the wolf leave the room, and as much as I wanted to discuss the plan further with Liam, I couldn't let Blake explore alone. I see you hesitating. Want to swap? I guessed he'd been waiting to say that to me for a while now.
Hurry up before you lose him.
I'm going. We'll be right behind you soon. He yelled as I left the room to chase after Blake. Wolf hadn't walked far, but instead he had waited for someone to accompany him. Did I make you ditch Ryan? Sorry about that. I approached him and we paced through the hallway together. I spent a lot of time with him already. I'm sure he won't mind. How much time are we talking about here? Could I compete with him? I looked the other way to hide my red cheeks. He's family, that's a different kind of relationship. I can see that. He was being nice, but I could feel that something was still bothering him. Are we checking to see if we can climb out through the windows? We should be able to. I thought I should avoid mentioning Liam for now. Is there anything useful in the bag? Kinda. There's a lot of junk here, and I don't understand the meaning behind any of it. I sighed. Every argument in my head at the moment was bringing me back to the Lynx, one way or another. He had claimed I'm a medium myself, but I never got the opportunity to have him explain. We returned to the lounge. Blake dug up Liam's book from his bag and compared the castle's layout in the book with the current layout. I don't think he's crazy enough to draw the map wrong on purpose. At least I hope that's not the case. I decided I would give Liam the benefit of the doubt as well. It would have been difficult to fake the book Clyde showed us, unless the dragon himself was in on it. Or was that it? Blake, wait, I need to... A sharp pain suddenly entered my head, breaking my thoughts and stunning me for a few seconds. Blake heard my whimpering and came to see what was going on, but I was too focused on fighting the pain to speak. It felt like a foreign object was slowly pushing itself inside of me, and it hurt so much. Let me walk you back to the safe room. I can find a way out of my own. Took a few steps away from him, stumbling to keep myself from falling, and he gave up on helping me. I'm fine. The pain was still there, but after the surprise attack wore off, I learned to tolerate it. You don't need to be worried. Liam clearly made up that excuse of traveling in pairs as a blatant attempt to split us up. Something was watching us. Somehow, in the midst of the pain, I could feel it. Why did you return? My headache began fading, and I instinctively turned my face towards the unknown voice, or at least to the direction I had heard it from. Blake saw me look at something behind him and turned as well, but we both saw nothing. What's wrong? Did you hear that? No. You will regret this. Was this a hallucination? I never had one before, but it felt so real. I shouldn't have been able to hallucinate a voice I've never heard before. Someone is here, I think. I was hesitant to call out for it, mostly to avoid Blake's judgmental stare. All I could sense was the awful smell lingering in the air, coming and going like waves. Calm down. Nobody's here. I had a feeling you wouldn't believe me that easily, but I was sure I heard a voice. My headache had also gone away. Were they related somehow? Now that I think about it. Blake stared into the hallway we just left. Shouldn't they be joining us now? We already agreed on pairs, didn't we? True, but you'd have to walk through that corridor regardless, then we're supposed to split in the lounge, not before. I had noticed all the doors being locked, but it may have been possible to find more after we parted ways from the group. We did leave mid-conversation, so maybe they're discussing what to do or helping Patrice deal with another episode. I became skeptical of my own statement when I remembered the words Ryan shouted at me earlier. It's useless to go back without a proper update. Let's check those windows first. Oh, I got the impression just now they didn't want to go back for some reason. Alright then. We left the lounge and entered the opposite hallway to look for a suitable window to open. Nope, one of these is already cracked. I'm not liking the idea of vandalizing the place, so I'd like to avoid that if I can. Blake tapped the glass with his claw to judge its quality and gave a surprised grunt. These are reinforced, so that means they won't break. I can shatter one, but it'll require more effort. I'm just surprised to find something like this in an allegedly abandoned castle. I squeezed my face against the glass to take a look outside. I can't see anything. We were still surrounded by the clouds from that rock slide. That rock slide must have been really strong if there's so much lingering dust floating around. I wondered whether the castle itself was floating instead, because we were completely blinded and not even the ground was visible. I'll try using the things Liam gave us. Take a step back. I don't want you to get hurt by the shards. The fuck? I had a bad feeling about this, but I couldn't give him a real warning that would satisfy him. Don't hurt yourself. Blake nodded and pulled out a sword from the bag with the intent of swinging it against the glass. The fuck? It may bounce. Watch out! His prediction was correct. The sword bounced off, then slipped from his hands and hit the floor. There we go. The window cracked, allowing the wolf to tear it down with his claws. I'm going to take a quick look outside. Be back soon. I sprinted to him and grabbed him by the poncho at the edge of the window. What's wrong? You look scared. His calm demeanor wasn't helping me and instead gave the opposite effect. Why wouldn't I be? Do you really have to do this? It's obvious that we shouldn't leave this way. I'm sorry. I don't think I understand. Blake stared at me in a way that made me feel like he could read my thoughts. How is that obvious? Who told you that? Liam? His voice was stern, almost scolding me for being in the way, but I was just as stubborn. Please let me go. I want to get Clyde and Patrice home. No, I don't care if you yell at me or get upset. You're not jumping off like this. It came a glaring match, and neither of us wanted to give up without a proper argument. He sat down on the windowsill and, with a more relaxed expression, gently moved my hand away from his poncho. Listen. I know you're worried. I'm just trying to keep my friends safe. His cigarettes peeked out of his pocket, and by the way his hands were tapping around the area, he seemed to be holding off from taking one. I get where you're coming from. Tolerating Liam takes a lot out of me, and that bastard keeps finding more ways to harass me. I sympathized with him in his troubles. He never did find the culprit behind his scar, and having to see your prime suspect unpunished every day had to be taxing. Is there anything I can do to change your mind? That was a kind voice I remembered, the one I wanted to hear so badly. Can you make it safer somehow? My voice lowered to a whisper. I felt embarrassed for forcing him to compromise with me. Wolf chuckled and I tugged my hat down a little. The next thing I knew, Blake was scooping into the back again. I think I saw a rope. Want me to use that instead? That way I can quickly get back if anything unexpected happens. He didn't let me reply before Blake already took it from the bag for me to see. Okay, I'll let you go then. Thanks. Wolf examined the rope, holding it, applying force, and checking its endurance as it moved across his fingers. It was a high-quality rope. I don't know exactly how much weight it can hold, but I'm assuming it can hold multiple Ryans. I'd like to hold it if that's okay. Sure, if it puts your mind at ease, I'll let you do that after I'm done tying it to myself in the window. I was still scared. This gut feeling wouldn't go away no matter how many precautions he took to make me feel better. Something about this felt wrong, but I couldn't quite place why in my mind. I touched the rope and checked for myself. He was right. This thing could easily hold multiple people. Why was I so afraid? It must be this castle's gloomy aura. I'm ready. It's going to take a minute, so feel free to watch me. I took a deep breath. Blake climbed down, and I walked up to the window to watch him descend into the fog. Mind talking to me whenever you can, so that I won't have to panic? Blake moved his hand up to meet mine. A comforting and confident smile spread across his face. I've been climbing ever since I was a kid. Have some faith in me. He quickly reached the foggy part and began disappearing into it. Still there? Yup. Alright. I love climbing stuff. You can find secret comfortable spots to lay on and watch the world around you. His voice was growing distant, but at least I could still feel his presence. I can't climb at all. You should try. It's one of my favorite activities. You get to see the same thing you saw before, but from a different view. And find things you couldn't have seen before now that you're closer to the sky. Is that how your love for the stars began? Blake? Blake, answer me! I immediately reached for the rope and pulled it towards me. Felt his weight, but him becoming unresponsive was freaking me out. Blake, I'm going to pull you up if you don't say something! Didn't even know if I could do that. I could see the rope shake and move around, injecting me with a high amount of fear. Then, thankfully, I saw Blake emerging from the fog. He was climbing toward me quickly, his face completely frightened by something I couldn't understand. I took a step back so he could get inside. He was petrified. What happened? Blake moved further inside, watching the window. He wasn't even trying to untie the knot around his waist, so I did that for him. There's no ground. You know what? Just for the funnies of a cliffhanger, we're gonna leave off here tonight. Girl was gonna go into the void. Well, this is terrifying. So, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.